Okay. So, good evening, guys, to another episode on Vision, Technology, Innovation, and Money. Today, I'm going to host Richard Blank, that is coming from a CEO of Costa Rica's call centers. Good evening, Richard.
Good evening to you, Ronen. So happy to be with you and your audience tonight.
Thank you very much. I much appreciate. So, tell me, how do you start this company, these activities? Where are you coming from? And by then, where are you taking it?
Well, there's really no blueprint for a CEO of a call center. You kind of have to work at one to understand it. And when I was 27 years old, I had a 1 in a million opportunity to move from the United States to Costa Rica and work at my friend's center. I was there for 4 years and learned the business from the inside out. I backed it up with a major in Spanish in college. So I was building on momentum. And then in my mid 30s, I threw my hat in the ring and started my company. And here we are 18 years later.
18 years. Which kind of services are you are providing to who is the end users, who is the customers, without names?
Of
By
course.
okay.
I have
What
an
is the
NDA, of course, but
have?
unlike
Oh,
what Hollywood does to glamorize telemarketing, there are 5 campaigns I won't do. We don't do sports books, casinos, stocks, pharmacies, or sweepstakes. I work with sales, appointment setting, lead generation, customer support, retention, back office support, and non-voice support. Now, I work with companies in the United States and Canada, a little bit in Costa Rica, and it's really, we're very selective of the campaigns that come in. Ronan, I want to make sure the agents can go home and tell their parents what they do for a living. So, as I say, I
mhm.
want to be able to fulfill clients' needs and make sure the agents are satisfied.
So if I'm simplifies that, and it's going to sounds bad, by the end of
Okay.
the day, call center
Yeah.
is a call center. Let's assume that I have a telephone company, a mobile phone company, that I need
Mm-hmm.
support. So I'm going to use an external call center that's going to
Mm-hmm.
provide any support for my client. Maybe I need to provide them some script, etc. But
Mm-hmm.
it's this simple as I just mentioned it, or there is some complicate and some challenges that
So
need
let
to
me ask you a
be.
question, my good
Yep.
friend. How many times have you been frustrated on a phone call when you've
Oh,
called a customer? So you really think it's easy? They're getting bombarded all day long with
no.
hundreds of phone calls of frustrated people. And so a retention department is extremely important. They save accounts. Customer support, they can guide people just to give them a positive experience. I understand, Ronan, that omni-channel non-voice support, such as chat, email, and texting, it's convenient, it saves you money, but it's also latent, there's miscommunication, and it frustrates people.
Great.
Sometimes
So
I'd
you take
rather
it.
speak to someone.
Great. So sorry that I'm cutting you. So you took me to the second question. Now with the
Uh-huh.
AI, why I need a human body behind the phone? Maybe
Very good
I can
question.
use an AI agent.
You could. Now, there's two arguments I'd like to use for that. The first one is Uncanny Valley. In the 1970s, a Japanese robot scientist said, listen, the more that they get human-like, we're going to freak out one day and not like it because we're going to feel threatened. They're smarter than us. They're manipulating. Second argument, Ronan, there's absolutely no way that AI will be able to replicate empathy and compassion. They can gather and bring it to a certain point, but that final stage, that hand holding needs to be done between two people. So I believe that, yes, certain departments may be replaced, efficiency will go up. But in my professional opinion, from my experience, my own personal experience, I like to have a relationship with somebody at a company. I like for them to know my
Yeah.
account, maybe give me a discount or hook me up or take my call when I'm stressed or frustrated or need that sense of urgency. And so, as I say before, yes, AI will be taking place, but they still have not mastered the voice response on these machines. And as I say, people do get frustrated. And one of the things I've noticed is the timing. As much as
Timing?
you think
What
they
do you
sound
mean?
like us,
What do you mean
their
by timing?
answering speed, their
Ah, the answering
answering
speed.
speed. there's always that weird extra half a second or second where you're waiting for someone where it just doesn't feel natural, like it's plastic in nature. It just doesn't fit in still. And it gives someone the chills and makes them uncomfortable. And so, as I say before, we're maybe 5 to 10 years away, maybe sooner. But I know that a lot of my clients do decide to hire live people to represent their company when making phone calls and receiving client calls.
Okay. So by the end of the day, those agents that you hire and provide a service to those customers need to
Hmm.
get some reports. The length of the conversation, what was the conversation,
The metrics,
yeah, the matrix itself. But
right?
my question is, any customer, any end user, I'm not talking about the end user, I'm talking about your customer that ask, for the service,
Hmm.
they, each one of them ask for a different report. How you handle it? I'm sure that there is a template for a basic one, but what happens if they need something special, a different one, another booklet? How you handle it?
Well, usually it's a disposition because the
Okay.
majority of the calls is a contact, introduction, body conclusion, and a wrap up. But if it's a specific industry, they might need to ask qualifying questions. If a call is rejected, there will be sub dispositions on a not interested or why you're not getting the business. So it's a good exit interview for people. You had mentioned something earlier about scripts and
Yeah,
rebuttals. My
yeah.
friend, believe in the art of speech, especially someone like yourself that speaks multiple languages just like me. It bears the mark of higher education. There's dedication, there's practice, there's
This is
structure.
something, this is something once I'm speechless. I will tell you why, because I never thought about that.
Oh,
I
come
never
on, you
thought
got a
about
cool
this point.
Israeli accent. It's like a beauty mark if you meet somebody. And I
Yeah, but
focus on grammar and vocabulary, but the accent is fine as long as they speak well. And so I never allow my clients to take the native speaker because A, they're like a mercenary. They're going to bounce around, be a cancer, and have bad habits. You want to take the 18-year-old kid that is bilingual, but he's a squire to a knight. You can mold them, you can work with them. And so, as I say, there's nothing better than the beautiful art of speech. And someone in my controlled environment that makes hundreds of phone calls a day can master delivery and introductions and really good listening skills and learn how to take copious notes. Learn transitional sentences and tie down so people don't have to repeat things. You can reduce the talk time on the metrics that you're mentioning. You're
yeah,
talking about different products. That doesn't make a difference. It's just a different script, same actor. So it's just readjustments of tone. And there's
okay,
also other tell signs, Ronan, that you'll be able to see so you could readjust your speed or your speaking pitch level so you don't crosstalk or interrupt and you pay attention to the positive or the negative reinforcements to see if you need to repeat something or you can move forward. And my favorite bit of advice, always pay the compliment. There's something called a positive escalation. If somebody
okay.
gives you the pass to pitch before I get transferred to you, mention them verbally and in writing. So when you build your business pipeline and you're marinating lists and you happen to call your company back, I'm going to get a hero's welcome from the person that I told you was doing an amazing job because no one compliments the front line. We do. And so that just separates us from other people that are just carpet bombing these telemarketing calls and the people that hate doing it and they say it's one of the worst jobs out there. I say quite the contrary, my friend. There's ways to jump clouds and have romantic deaths regardless of the outcome of a call. You could really increase your soft skills to make you more self-reliant and self-confident. These are the sort of skills, my man, you can take outside of the office and have a
That
much more fulfilled life.
that's fine. I want to take another point.
Yeah, go for it.
This is something that we saw in Israel in the last, year and a half. Okay, from October the 7th. Uh, a lot of people need to speak with somebody. And there are some call centers that have been activated by the country and by some companies that
Mhm.
provide a therapy, some
Yeah.
to speak with somebody. to
Mm-hmm.
lay off your some problems, etc. And I saw that it's so not from first engagement, but I saw that it's working. I saw some companies that working with this solution.
Mm-hmm.
Does your company have this facilitate or those skills, or you need to create a group of agents in order to provide this service?
Mm.
This is one question. The second question, I
Mm-hmm.
realized in the last 3 months that I'm sure that we're all aware on the 911 call centers.
Yes.
Yes. And one of the things over there that I saw that there is all the time a sense that a lady is calling to the 911 operator, and she say, "Hey guys, I want to order a pizza."
Mm-hmm.
And this means that somebody, there is a situation that you need help. Okay, and the order a pizza is just a nickname of something behind the scene.
Correct.
So this is, complete the answer that you just provided regarding the AI, why the AI cannot replace the human interaction or human uh, 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 reaction. But my question here, does you as a CEO, did you think about it that your call center need to provide those skills to be able to translate what happened in the other line, in the other end?
Yes. Well, excellent questions. I'm going to answer all of them for you. First and foremost, I've never had an account that has had so much responsibility as the mental health call center in Israel or the 911 operators. That is severe Division 1
Mhm.
all-star players. I have law firms that I work with for disability and wrongful termination. So people are calling us on the worst day of their lives. It's not the same, but it's still something where we're exceptionally selective of those agents too, because you can't fake bedside manner. Florence Nightingale is the most famous nurse out there. And so these beautiful doctors and nurses, like, do you remember Patch Adams, the movie?
Yeah,
What
of
made
course.
Patch so special was he said, what is the patient's name? Let's just start with foundation because sometimes love is the best medicine. And even as a CEO, even though I have a title and leverage, the fact that I knew people's names, walked the rows, broke bread with them, and hung out in the game room, a lot of people privately came to me and said, "You're the first boss that ever did something like that." And that's one of the reasons why I'm here, because I've never been treated like that. But when you're mentioning talk time on a metrics phone call, the last thing I would ever do is rush somebody that's on those calls. And secondly, I think anonymity is one of the greatest things ever. You meet a
Wow.
stranger on a train, you have the bartender. Those are the times that you spill your guts and cry your eyes out because there's no repercussion. You're not being judged by your family. Your friends aren't going to tease you for it or use it against you. And there have been times in my life where I've met strangers during moments where I needed clarity. And I don't know where it happened, but we just somehow got to talking. And the next thing you know, before leaving, there's a hug in the parking lot and wishing each other well. And 20 minutes ago, I didn't even know this individual, but they must have seen me with my head down or something and say, "Hey, champ, you doing okay?" And I've tried to pay it forward as well. I mean, I'm not out there petting stray dogs and giving money to homeless people constantly, but I've noticed when people are a little off and they're out of character, and I want to know if there's a way that I can help reset and rebalance them. I also believe that people in this experience taking years and years of these 911 and mental health calls, they're so astute. They've heard it. So they understand the trembling of the voice, the pausing, the vocabulary, just everything. Their sixth sense kicks in so strong that
I would,
you
I,
they have to go on that intuition. Yes.
Richard, I want to, I will tell you something.
Tell
I
me.
select this podcast, this episode, because two reasons. First of all, I look on the storytelling that you send me, and it's fabulous. But
Thank
second,
you.
because of because I'm because I'm here in Israel in the high tech industry, there are some RFI and some uh, tenders from the Ministry of Health
Hmm.
for uh, startup companies that will come and provide some solutions for medical health, to medical health care. Not to provide some device or how to do what to do and where to go, as well as just talking. When you call, there is a line, a hotline in Israel here that you can just call and speak for somebody that you never met, you never know, and just, just just talk about your problems, etc. As you said, nobody is judging you. And I'm asking if those companies are looking for third-party solutions
Hmm.
as you're providing as a call center,
Hmm.
how they can contact you just to maybe to have this service or to contribute how to start to build it.
Just to contact me is fine. I'm not going to force their hand to sign a contract. And if somebody with good intentions anywhere in the world wants to ask me questions, you might say to me, Richard, yeah, Ronan, that's your competition. Okay, but I'm not really giving out the secret sauce. If somebody's got the guts to start a call center and through merit, their agents are able to land an account, that's great. They make the industry look better. But
Yeah, of course.
I've met a lot of colleagues out there that have asked me questions in regards to onboarding and training and supervision. And then I have some people, some clients that come in that bring in a supervisor that just is guns a-blazing, loves to curse, writing in all caps. And what they do is they get people to quit because they have
Wow.
to understand there's a blending, my friend. There's, even though we have things in common, you're still talking about two different cultures. And a lot of the times people have not flown to Israel or to Costa Rica. They haven't had the time to sit with the individuals that are working with them. They just bark orders and look at reports. But it's guys like you and I that are on the front line with them. We're the ones that, as I mentioned before, we see them during their best and their worst days. And I think we've earned that old school sort of respect that most people don't get these days. They glamorize the CEO position and it's just letters. Stripping that all away, I'm still just a man. The reason you chose me and I made the cut, my friend Ronan, is because I had the long shot from Northeast Philly. You have to realize something. When I was 18 years old, all of
Okay.
my friends were going to medical school, law school. They're going to be engineers and family businesses. They had a plan. I had no plan, but I had a passion for second languages. I was a Renaissance man, and it was very difficult for me to make this argument to my family to study languages when my grandpa went to Harvard Law, dad went to Columbia Business, and my older brother went to Washington and Lee University. I mean, these are amazing Ivy League, and I didn't have the grades and maturity or wanting to do it. And I felt like I'd be in a box my whole life. It'd feel like a Sunday night cram session for school. I would hate life. Could I do it? I guess, but it'd be the worst forced march that I'd ever have to go through. And so I made them feel guilty. I said, listen, great grandpa came from Eastern Europe, moved to New York at the turn of the 20th. He didn't speak English. He made our money during the Depression. So come on, you wouldn't even be here. And so, I mean,
You can
we're
make it.
sometimes nomads. Yeah, we can make it. We're nomads. But my main argument was, why would you ever put a spark out in somebody? We're not talking about a passing phase. We're talking about a kid that's learning a second language, reading the books, watching the movies, writing, and doing that dedicated practice above and beyond school. Like when you hit the gym hard and or you hit the bag, you're ready for the fight. And so this was my not battle, this was my hero's journey adventure. And I wasn't playing games on this. You can't spin a second language. You can be cute and go to a restaurant and order Chinese food and know 5 words, but it doesn't mean you can move to China. And so every time I met a Latino, I always got a go, Richard, go. And almost like
Okay.
a goodie bag, they would give me vocabulary words and better grammar. And so I knew that all the world was a stage. It was beautiful for me. I just wasn't limited to a seminar, to a class, to an internet connection, equipment.
Hmm.
I could be just hanging around and just speaking Spanish, and I felt so cultured. I felt good about
Wow.
myself, and I just didn't want it to end. And I knew deep down inside my serious intuition that if I stuck with just my core, something good was going to happen from that. Besides getting jobs post grad, this thing with Costa Rica, and now the respect that I have of the local Spanish speaking ticos, it took me to a different level of leadership, a lot
Oh,
different level. And so it gave me
oh,
much
and
more
this is
foundation.
you just gave me the the opening for another question. As a CEO,
Yeah.
you know, I'm all the time analyze the past in order to get myself better for the future.
Hmm.
I'm sure that you had some bad times and good times, but can you pinpoint a bad decision that you made? That you say, after a while, said, "Oh, that was a bad one, and I learned from that."
I can give you two things. I'll tell you my worst decision I made, and then I'll tell you the tough times that I went through. The worst decision I ever made was putting my confidence in somebody that did not have the best intentions. Oh, the
Hmm.
disappointment. Just remember this, Ronan, and I don't want to put a shade on this wonderful conversation we have, but my fair warning to any leader, there will always be whispers in shadows. Always. So you can have people with you, but just be vigilant of what's going on around you. Because not that I spread myself too thin, I got very large, and putting faith in certain individuals felt fine at the moment. But then when I pulled the curtain back and I saw certain things, it was some of the worst decisions I ever made. It's better off to promote from within and have people that have raised the ranks compared to bringing in specialists, because they usually have their own interests at hand. And that's my, with being extremely diplomatic, that's what I have to say. And I'm not telling you that everyone working for you is out to get you, but please review history. Look what happened to Caesar. Look at Judas. Huh?
Yeah,
And so I could never fathom certain individuals doing certain things, but I guess it's part of growing up. You got to get certain scars. Now, 18 years, how did I even get here? Well, you know what internet cafes were. So when I first
yeah,
started out, I would rent a turnkey station at almost an internet cafe. It was a little more glamorous than that, but I would rent a station. I did that for 2.5 years, where I could pay the taxes, the overhead, and make my margin. After that time, I had the clients and the cash. I rented space. Call centers have attrition. So instead of paying the import tax for brand new computers, I was getting them for a fraction of the cost, plus really top furniture. You can buy furniture and equipment. So I would scale row by row. I didn't overextend like real estate projects that go out of business.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so I did that for 6.5 years, and then I was busting out the seams. So I then
Wow.
purchased a property, put on a third floor. I don't know about you, Ronan, but I love Art Deco and neon lights and marquees. I'm from the 80s. So I've made a gorgeous building that looks like a 1920s old school theater. So anyway, I put that in there, and that's where we're at. And so, but the technology is interesting. Our industry, you were always looking for additional space because you kept growing.
Cool.
Right now, it's the opposite. Everyone's working from home, which is a benefit that's post COVID. And the second thing, which is essential for my business, was the server room. We've put everything in the cloud, which means there's
Oh,
no downtime. I don't have to worry about switches and servers and batteries and spikes and internet and you name it. Every problem that made me lose my hair. Yeah, that's right. I think it's been eliminated. And I wish I had this in the beginning, but the cloud only came out, what, 2005 or six, and
Yeah.
they had to get it right, and they got it right. So I just wanted to wait a couple more years. So the timing is right for everyone to go home, work virtually, everything in the cloud. So now I have redundancy and I'm up the whole time. And but the last thing, my industry had a beautiful synergy about it. There was a certain time when we had hundreds of seats. I'd walk the rows. The game room and the lunchroom was packed. People were falling in love, getting married, you name it. It was, man, it was an amazing environment. And we don't have that anymore. My live
Uh,
trainings are gone and everyone's away. And so I kind of see that as yesteryears. But anyway, I can't
welcome,
complain the fact
well,
we just adjusted.
welcome to Tinder.
Well,
You
I'm a
know,
happily married man, but,
I
but
know,
I'm
but
talking
you
about the
know,
agents. What are you trying to say, Ronan? No, I'm kidding. But no, man, I miss it. I think it reduced attrition if your best friend is sitting next to you and Ronan and I are making phone calls and high-fiving all
Mm,
day. Come on.
yeah,
It makes
yeah,
all the difference in the world.
yeah, yeah. You know, when I'm finishing every episode that I have the last question that ask everyone. Tell me
Tell me.
something that nobody knows about you up until now.
Ooh, I am a avid collector of classic pinball machines
Pinball
and,
machines.
and
Wow.
jukeboxes. Do you remember those machines back
Yeah,
in
of
the day in
course.
the arcade? Well, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and everyone wanted Ricky Schroeder's Silver Spoons arcade. And so, um, listen, that's the one
How
battle
many
I'm willing to
boxes
do.
do you have? How
I
many
have
machines do you
11 pinball machines, six
have?
jukeboxes, and assorted other older machines. But oh, they're beautiful. And you know
Well,
what's so interesting? One man's trash is another man's treasure, Ronan. All these arcades are going out of business. So I
yeah.
would go on the local Mercado Libre or Facebook, and they're giving them away for like 300-400 bucks. Now, I know the machines are 40 and 50 years old, and all this stuff is corroded behind the marquee, all the CPUs and different stuff. You can
Yeah.
buy replacement parts. So for, let's say, $500 to $1,000, you replace everything in the back of the marquee, from the lights to the sound to everything. Next thing you know, you're just switching out a couple wires and
That's it.
lights,
It's
and you're
working.
sitting, bro, you got a $5,000 Arnold Schwarzenegger Last Action Hero. I mean, you got to be kidding. And so one turned into three, and then one guy was selling four. So I took them all. And listen, me, you, Tommy, Joey, and Billy, we'll grab a truck, a couple, couple bucks, and drive a couple
And that's
hours to,
it.
and that's
Le-
it. And some guy opens up. It's just like in the movies. He opens up a bodega, and next thing you know, you're seeing these machines, and you're just, but you got to play it cool. You're like, oh, well, inside I'm like, yes, yes, Ronan, we got it. But my favorite decade were the 1970s, and I'll tell you why. It's the last years of the electromechanical machines. So it's just all contacts, easier to
Yeah,
clean
yeah.
compared to the computers. I love the marquee artwork, the cabinets, the sounds of the bells and the xylophone. It was a much more open play field, and they used to paint the wood. Now it's all laminates and stickers, but you could sometimes see the cracks and stuff. But they're beautiful machines, and they have their own electromagnetic energy that I think that they transfer to us, because I always feel good playing them. And so
Yeah, yeah. It's
a
nice.
CEO like myself needs time to decompress. So I like to wash a convertible, play pinball on Sundays, hit the gym. So you do need, as a owner of a company and you in the
Mm-hmm.
tech industry, you need that sort of balance, my man. So if
The
anybody,
balance.
don't be hard on yourself. Find times to recharge those batteries, things that you like to do, and you'll see that you give yourself more go-go juice.
Nice. Richard, thank you
Yeah,
very much for the time. Much appreciate. Was pleasure.
pleasure was mine, Rona. Had a great time with you.
Thank you.